But I'd like to turn it over to the Snohomish County Department of Health now to give their presentation, which is called the Caring Connections Project, reflecting on our relationship with clients. So the Snohomish County Health Department is in the northwest portion of Washington State along the I-5 corridor. They are the state's third most populous county and have an average TB disease incidence of 3 per 100,000 per year, similar to Washington State and national incidence for TB. I grew up right on the King County and Snohomish County border, so every time I would drive away from my house, I would pass the sign. And I have a special place in my heart for Snohomish County, and I work as a pulmonologist at UW Medical Center Northwest, which is on the north end of Seattle, and I share a number of patients with Snohomish County. And this group has always been really fun to work with when I've diagnosed TB cases and set them their way, and very easy to work with, and we really appreciate them. And so thanks for talking, guys. I'm not sure which one of you is going to take it over, but I'll give it to the group.
I'll take it over. Thank you, Bijan. And hello, everyone. I'm Teresa Rugg. I am the TB program supervisor or TB program supervisor at Snohomish County. And so do the whole routine. Let's share my screen and get us going. Really happy to be here with all of you today. So of course we have to show Mount Rainier first. That's the first thing we have to always show, even though that's not in our county. That's okay. So again, I just want to introduce myself, Teresa Rugg, and I've been at the Snohomish County Health Department for about 5 years now, but had a little stint here 20 years ago, and you'll hear more about my background in just a little bit. But I'd like to acknowledge the contributors to this presentation and to our Caring Connections project that are listed here. But let's hear from our other speakers who will be here today. So Dr. Lewis.
Hi, James Lewis. I'm the health officer here in Snohomish County. Great to see everybody. I'm here often. I'll hand it off to Zainab.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zainab, and I am one of the TB outreach workers here at Snohomish County.
And hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashley Davidson, and I work as the tuberculosis program specialist for the county.
Thank you all. We have no conflicts of interest to state today. And so let's get on a trail together. Time to get on a trail. So I want to acknowledge first that you all have patients on your mind today. Some of them are really sick. Some of them, they feel so much better than they did before you met them. And that being said, I just really want this presentation to be a time that you stop, you take a breath, and we hope that we can inspire you to think about why you even chose to be on TB. Why are you on this path? And why do you continue to work in the field of TB? And to reflect on what motivates you to now enhance the ever-evolving emotional dynamics that occurred during TB treatment with your clients. So thinking about your clients during this presentation. And we're going to talk about the foundation of patient care, which really takes us to thinking about why do we do what we do, and how does that make you feel? So yes, we're going to talk about feelings, so strap in. This is going to be about feelings. And just to start out, for me, in terms of feelings and where I have been on this TB journey, for me, this past year marks the 20th anniversary of the passing of my friend, Dr. Claudia Amaya-Laxon, from TB meningitis. So the loss of Claudia still runs deep, but it created an opening in me to make me curious about how is it possible that at that time, 20 years ago, 2 million people were dying from this preventable and curable disease. So by reading and listening to affected persons' TB experiences, it opened me up to a deeper understanding of the global TB epidemic and propelled me into the world of TB advocacy. And so prior to supervising this fabulous TB program here at the Snohomish County Health Department, I spent the last 19 years directing TB Photo Voice, which was a nonprofit that worked with TB programs around the world, teaching TB leaders how to engage with their patients and TB survivors to use photos and stories to identify the strengths and the challenges in their TB treatment and to amplify their voices and stories to bring upon positive change in their community. And this is one photo that always is near and dear to my heart from Kevin in our project that we conducted in Nakuru, Kenya. He says, "These shoes helped me take long treks to and from the health center. I know they look uncomfortable, but what I see today is resilience and triumph." So that's just a piece of what TB Photo Voice has done over the years. So when I arrived at the Snohomish County Health Department, and this was in 2021, I had a fuzzy vision of that I wanted to build a TB care team that focused on continuous growth in case management skills, along with fostering an environment of trust and respect among staff members. So this respect and authentic care would then, by extension, spread out to our clients and to the families that we care for. So I felt that if we have a healthy team, we're going to have healthy clients and we will have a healthy community. And that's what we did. So once I saw that our foundation was strong, and here we all are in this photo here, it seemed natural for me to use some of the techniques from my Photo Voice experiences to really nurture an environment that encouraged self and team reflection in order to connect with our clients in a deeper way throughout the course of their treatment. So today, we're going to share with you our very simple process. We had to stretch it a little bit to make some of these slides because we're like, it's such a simple recipe. But we're going to give you this simple process and the outcomes, which were not simple, they were complex, as to how we can connect with ourselves and as a team and with our community through this project. So our vision is to complete a cycle of reflections by encouraging our TB clients and survivors to also reflect on their TB treatment experiences. But we'll get to that later. So I haven't told you the recipe. You have no idea what we're about to do, but I have such a creative team that we're very busy with just the cases that we have. But on the side, we were able to create this project. And like I said, very creative team. They thought, we should do a video for today's presentation. So we've done just that. So let me just share my other screen here. And really hoping you can all hear this. So if you can give me a thumbs up once we get going, that'd be great.
As a caregiver, how frequently do you take a moment to reflect on each individual patient's circumstances? Do you ever find yourself going through your workday on autopilot? What if you intentionally took time to connect with your emotions and experiences so as to strengthen your relationship with your client throughout their months of treatment? When does your TB team have time to share your reflections and insights together to help strengthen the collective understanding of the work with your clients and with each other? Well, we had an idea. It was time to make time. Over the course of 2 months, we browsed through magazines looking for photos that represented how we individually felt during the various stages of tuberculosis treatment. We found photos that represented our personal experiences and reflections at the beginning of treatment, midway through treatment, and the end of treatment. We then wrote our own personal story relating to the photo.
At the beginning of treatment, the whole TB team works in tandem together to help. Whenever we meet a new client, there is always a sense of hope for the patient that everything will get better because we have coworkers and others that will support us and the new client. Everyone in the TB program brings to the table valuable skills and ideas for the care of each of our clients.
This photo relates to working with clients midway through treatment because oftentimes I feel as though I'm watching the client from afar. The drive-in movie analogy relates to our use of the DOT platform Surety. This video platform is the least intrusive method for observing our client take their medication, but sometimes it can feel impersonal. Often it's difficult to watch our patients who are not taking well to treatment or have lingering symptoms. Midway through treatment, I feel like I could be doing more to enrich their TB journey. Whether it's buying groceries or a happy birthday text or just a call to check in, I want them to finish their treatment feeling cared for.
When a patient completes their treatment, it is like picking a ripe fruit from a tree. The patient is separated from the tree that nourished it and sent off to continue its life journey. When a patient finally completes their treatment, there can be a range of emotions, from relief to joy and even sadness. The process of disengaging from the nurse-patient relationship is not dissimilar to how one must tug on the fruit to break it free from the branch. After we completed our self-reflections, we shared these stories as a group, and through this process recognized common, salient themes to pay attention to as we do our work. We found we are not alone in our feelings and perceptions. We are always growing and learning from one another.
Thank you for taking the time to listen. Hopefully it was in sync, not too much lag. So now I'd just like to share with you, as I mentioned, the simple recipe. So we had 3 rounds of reflections and sharing times. And during each one of those rounds, and as it was mentioned, this was 2 months time period that we conducted this in between seeing clients. So we selected photos that represented a particular theme, and then we wrote a short reflective statement, and then we shared those stories together as a team. So the 3 themes were, the first one we found pictures for, were when our clients were starting their treatment. How does it feel when a client is starting their treatment? And again, we have 8 different perspectives on this with our team. Excuse me, 9, Dr. Lewis. Sorry about that. It's a big family.
Yeah, Teresa, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but a couple of people are putting in the chat, and I'm noticing it too, that your volume got a lot lower all of a sudden. Are you able to speak up just a little bit?
I will.
Excellent. That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no problems. I appreciate that. So we have these 3 themes. The first is starting their treatment. And then after about 2 or 3 weeks, we looked at photos and stories that would really portray how we feel midway through our client's treatment, and then perceptions when they completed their treatment. So those were our 3 themes. And I gave little prompts for any of you who are thinking back to middle school, when you had little prompts that you had to use with your English classes. These were some of the reflection questions. First, I asked the team, what do you see? What is going on in this picture that you see? Because we all see different things in photos. And then how does this photo relate to the theme of that round? And what are your thoughts and feelings that you have during this time period? And is there anything you want to amplify or change in your practice? And then we had our sharing sessions. So we took about a little over an hour to conduct these sharing sessions. So total of a little over 3 hours throughout, again, those 2 months period. And everyone had the opportunity to read their reflections, and the team would then ask questions, more probing questions, see different things in those photos, and really come together with a collective gratitude to each other for those reflections, and different salient themes did come forward. So in round 1, the question was, how is this photo related to meeting your client for the first time? And what thoughts and feelings do you have about that? So I'd like to invite Dr. Lewis to share his photo and story on this round 1.
Sure, thanks, Teresa. So this photo for me illustrated how scary and isolating the diagnosis of TB can be. And even if you're an adult, it might kind of feel like you're a child again, encountering something that is unfamiliar to you. And you may even still have family around, like maybe in this picture, the man sitting in the car might be. But you can still feel separated from them as they are physically in this photo, as they aren't going through the same experience as you. Also, there could be cultural stigma, even among family members, about being diagnosed with tuberculosis. Also, our clients are often in an unfamiliar environment or country with multiple tools, with minimal tools to support and to adapt, kind of like the shovel might represent in this picture, and might be justifiably suspicious of the people helping them through this treatment. So that would be our team. You can kind of see that maybe in the child's facial expression. And we should strive to be aware of these issues with our clients and be supportive, even when our interactions might not feel ideal, or what we might consider ideal. So that was my picture. Thanks, Teresa.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. I'm going to try and get rid of this other little setup piece there. Sorry about that distraction. And then round 2 came along, and this prompted the question, how is this photo related to your relationship with your client midway through their treatment? And what thoughts and feelings do you have in that middle of treatment with the client? So I'd ask Zainab to come forward and share about your photo.
Yes, so I decided to call mine Baking Connections because it's a photo of a top view of 2 hands kneading dough into smaller elongated pieces. There's flour and pieces of dough surrounding the hands. As someone who enjoys baking, I relate to this photo because baking can be fun and a comforting process, but it's different every time. You can follow the same recipe every time, but your dough will not always be the same. As seen in this photo, we are past the prepping stage. We're in the middle, getting ready to put the dough in the oven for it to be complete. There may be some nervousness about how it'll be in the end, but overall, I feel comfort that it will all work out. Baking is something I find joy and comfort in doing, and that's how I feel through the midway process with my clients. At this stage, I feel comfortable with the client. We're like friends who share life experiences and moments together. And I'd like to amplify this feeling with all of my patients because it's fun and comforting, just like baking.
Thank you, Zainab. And Zainab, can you share your role with our team?
Yes, I am one of the TB outreach specialists.
Thank you. Great. So then we moved on to round 3. And round 3 was about how their photos are related to the completion of the client's treatment. So again, what feelings, thoughts do you have about that? Anything you want to amplify or change? So Ashley, you want to share your photo?
Of course. So I had multiple interpretations when I found this photo. My first interpretation of this photo is that the paintings along the walls and the floors symbolize our clients, each one distinct with their own unique story to share. In this scene, I see myself as the joyful gentleman seated in the middle of the couch. While I'm fully present, I also recognize that I can't support myself alone in this process. The couch, in this context, represents the Snohomish County Health Department, a sturdy foundation that provides the necessary support to help our clients, aka the paintings, thrive. In my second interpretation, I view the gleeful older gentleman as our client, filled with excitement as he nears the end of his treatment. Our TB program serves as the couch that provides the support needed for his journey, while the paintings surrounding him represent the client's memories and experiences accumulated throughout treatment. The image's chaotic and overwhelming nature could mirror the emotional and physical challenges that often accompany the treatment process. Treatment is a long and demanding journey, and I take immense pride in witnessing the progress our clients make while working with us. It brings me great joy to see them moving forward, inching ever closer to a brighter, healthier future.
Ashley. Hopefully all of you have had that look on your face at some point during your TB treatment journey with your client. So after we had our own time to take and reflect and find the stories and then share with each other. And I can't emphasize how important it was to share out loud to one another and being in person. We didn't do this virtually. We were in the office together sharing these stories, but we wanted to see what it would look like as a collective. So the team thought, let's create a display where we can see all of these photos up and see that progression. And so we did just that. We made a display and then invited staff from the health department to come and see our work, see how we work with our clients, what it feels like for us to go in to do our day-to-day. So we created that back in the fall. And then these were placed on cubicle dividers. And so we had to get those back to those individuals who owned them. So we thought, something more permanent would be great to have a magazine that we could compile all of these stories into. So we have an orientation booklet for our team as well as our refugee health team, as they are our cousins in this work. And so all of our stories are in this booklet. And so for our next steps, this is with great intention. We wanted to make sure that we have our foundation set, and now we're excited for our next journey is to work with our clients to have them also go through this process of finding a photo that represents that experience from the beginning, midway through, at the end. And not everyone is going to feel comfortable, perhaps, sharing their experiences, but maybe as the progression of their treatment goes, they might feel a little more excited to share. We also hope to share our photos, so as an example for them to see the journey that they're taking with our staff. So our Zainab and our outreach worker, Mike, will be working with our clients for the next several months and unforeseeable future to have a feedback loop so that these stories we hope to gather from our clients can then, and they would be anonymous, so that then when new people come in our doors, we're able to share these stories out in a way that gives them hope and inspiration.